Hi, I'm Mike Lohanian, Client Technology Specialist from Dell. This video today, we're going to discuss the precision mobile workstations. This is not going to be a technical review, speeds and feeds, things of that nature, but this is more about what is a mobile workstation. Understand what type of users would be using different series of Dell Precision mobile workstations. Even what type of users would you not use these products? Maybe a Latitude or an XPS would be a better fit for it. But I want you to understand the different models, who they ideally are set for. What's the naming convention? I'm going to give you the secret decoder ring on how to determine what the difference between a 3560 and a 3561 to a 7760 would be. And finally, I'm going to kind of go through each individual one of the products, and I'm going to go through really quickly what I like about it, what makes it special for the type of users. So let's get started. So what is a precision? Precision comes in two form factors. There's your fixed precision and your mobile precision. So a fixed precision is your traditional desktop type of form factor. So a tower, mini tower, small form factor, or even compact desktop. So I've got one here like the Precision 3240 compact, tiny system for a workstation class product, but boy, this thing packs a lot of power underneath the hood of it. So great box. The other version of the Precision is the mobile Precision, which I have an example of the lineup here. So it's a workstation class product in a notebook form factor. So the question becomes, what is the difference between a traditional PC and a workstation? Right? Excellent question. If I ask people, a lot of times they'll say, well, a workstation has a video card where a traditional PC doesn't. And well, that can be right. It's not necessarily true. I've got an Alienware Battle Station upstairs with a beefy graphics card, but it is not an engineering workstation. So what makes an engineering workstation a workstation? It really gets down to the application. So you'll hear a term called ISV certification. So ISV stands for Independent Software Vendor. There's over 100 application or software vendors that Dell works with, and we take these applications and note that these applications are very intensive applications from a performance needs. They're very power hungry. But what we do is we partner up with that ISV, and we bring those applications onto the Precisions. We test them. We optimize the performance. We document what type of configurations have the best type of performance on them. We build special drivers, even special firmware and BIOS within the systems to make sure that these applications run at the optimal performance on these systems. So ISV certification is really the big distinguishing mark between a traditional PC and a workstation. And other thing to note, I talked about these applications really being power hungry. For the most part, they are, right? And a traditional PC is not meant to run at 100% power at all times. We're a precision workstation. We know that the applications that are on there are going to be pushing the envelopes of the performance. So what we do in the design is we design these things with special cooling, with special algorithms in there to adjust to the performance needs. So you don't get things like throttling. If I take a traditional PC and I throw one of these ISV applications on there and I start running it, what a traditional PC will do is like, hey, I'm hitting the thresholds of my performance and I'm really starting to overheat. And they'll start to throttle the system back or lower the performance to allow it to cool. Not so much on a precision, right? They're meant to be running and pushing the envelopes of the performance on there. So that's a real big distinguishing difference between say a Latitude and a precision line of mobility. So what type of applications am I talking about? Off the top of my head, things like AutoCAD is a great example. Even Adobe Creative Suites. Boy, when you're doing rendering and videoing editing. Those can be beasts to a machine. In the medical field, for radiologists like Barco, right, getting Barco monitors, and the performance you need to be able to read, the output of radiology, right, to have that ISV certification on there is critically important. Even a new field, what we call data science workstations. So what we've done in the precision line is developed a program in partnership with NVIDIA to develop these systems to help data scientists get up and running very quickly. So when I talk about data scientists, I'm talking about people that are doing AI work or machine learning or deep learning. So like Python folks, those type of folks, and the issue that they've had traditionally is, when I'm setting up a system to do artificial intelligence, getting that system up and running and fine tuned is a matter of sometimes weeks or months to get a program running. The partnership that we've had with NVIDIA and the program that we've developed on Data Science Workstation takes that down to a few hours, right? So you're talking about months to a few hours to get these systems up and running. So very intensive is really the word that we use when we talk about a workstation class. So let's take a look at each one of these models. Let's talk about how to decipher the different versions of precisions.
Now let's take a look at the naming convention for the Dell Mobile Precision workstations, right? I'm going to give you the decoder ring of how to decipher what all these numbers mean. At the top here, I've got a question, 3 questions on here. And by the end of this, you should be able to answer these with no trouble whatsoever. So the first question I have is, what is a 5560 versus a 5760? What is a 3560 versus a 3561? And what is a 7750 versus a 7760? All of them have little clues and of to what's different about them, and should make it a lot easier of looking at the model lines and understanding what you're getting. So let's start out with looking at the platform here. The platform is that first number in the series here, and it really talks about what is the platform that we have. So the base of the unit. So there is a 3000 series of versions of the precisions. This is what we call our value mobility or value performance models. Next, we have a 5000 series, right? And this is our thin and light premium model. So these are workstation classes that are thin, light, premium material that's on them. And finally, we've got our 7000 series, which is our uncompromised performance, right? These are the most powerful of all the precision lineup of systems. So that first number, so 537, will tell you the platform that we have. The next is the screen size, right? So if we've got this here. In general, this goes across both latitude and precision. So anytime you see the second number in latitude or precision notebooks, it tells me the screen size. So 2 is a 12-inch, 3 is 13, 4 14, and so on, all the way up to 17. And so when I look at this and say, what is a 5560 versus a 5760? We know this is a 15-inch version, and this is a 17-inch version of the notebook. So the next number, right? The next number really tells me the generation, right? So I've got a 6 here, I've got a 5 here, and if we look at the precision line of generations. The 2 is 2017, the 3 is 2018, and the current models, which are the 6 series, is 2021. So I've got here a 5560. I know it's the 2021 version of this. So next year it'll be the 7, so it'll be 5570s, right? And if someone came to me and asked me the question, like I said here, what is a 7750 versus 7760, I know the 7750 was built in 2020 versus built in 2021. I do want to take a note here. This generation does not translate to the latitude. It's on a different naming convention for the generation, but it's still the third number represents the generation. And finally, we've got a fourth number here, which is the final number. Usually you see zeros on here, but every once in a while you'll see a one. And this is really what I call a wild card slash processor. We kind of use this to help decipher something different that's in the model, and we do change the meaning from time to time. It's not like the German beer purity law of 1516, right? It isn't written in stone. We use it to mean different things. And usually what I say is it's, zero is standard and one meaning different. So up here, I've got, one of the questions I have on here was what's the difference between a 3560 and a 3561? In this case, the ones tell me there's something different about the processor. In a 3560, they use an ultra low voltage processor, and a 3561, we use a high voltage processor. So that's what that one denotes there. But just keep in mind it's more of a wild card and not a set of rules here. So hopefully this helps by knowing this. At least in the first two, the platform and the screen size, that's a real big help for folks. So now let's go take a look at the different models and what I like about each one of the series.
Let's take a look at the 3000 series mobile precision workstations. So there are two versions of the 3000 series. There's a 3560 and a 3561. And if I want to give an analogy of the 3000 series, let's use cars for instance, right? A traditional, say, a Latitude notebook, it would be like a sedan of some sort, and you got different versions, sedans, but a 3000 series class would be like moving up to an SUV, right? I've moved out to the suburbs, had a kid, I got a dog, maybe a couple jet skis I need to pull, and that sedan just doesn't have enough for me, right? It doesn't fit my lifestyle anymore, and I need some more room, and I need some more performance on it. That would really be the 3000 series. I've got more space in it, four-wheel drive. I've got a hitch on the back of it to pull jet skis. Just a little more power and a little more room than a traditional system. That's how I'd classify that 3000 series. It's really that person that really needs an extra kick in performance over a traditional notebook. From an ISV certification standpoint, like I said, it has all the ISV certifications, but a typical ISV user would be someone like using AutoCAD. AutoCAD needs a kick in performance overall from a standard PC, and also needs some help from a graphics card in it. And these 3000 series class, the 3560 and 3561, the 3560 has an NVIDIA T500 2 gig video card in there. The 3561 has either a T600, which is a 4 gig, or a T1200, which is also 4 gig. It just has more cores in the unit itself. So those are your type of users. But you know what? We've had another group of users that's been sneaking in, and these aren't the ISV certified type of users or engineers. We've had standard basic users start moving into this class. And the reason is a lot to do with what happened with COVID, right? When we all got stuck in our basements, like I'm stuck in mine right now. Instead of having face-to-face meetings, we started doing Zoom and Teams and WebEx to have all our meetings. And what people found was those were processor hogs, right? They were stressing our machines. We went from, hey, these machines are good enough, they're running fine, to, you're ready to pull your hair out because it can't keep up with, all the applications you're running in the video conferencing. So we've started to see some people start to sneak into this class. In particular, there's a great hack out there that you can use. So if you have a GPU in your systems like the 3560 and 3561, you can actually take things like Microsoft Teams and assign it to run under the GPU. And the performance increase is outstanding. I mean, the reports I saw was we were doing testing on Teams, and we found that Teams was using 38% of the CPU or the processor on average, right, with spikes up to 100% at times. And when we took Teams and we said, okay, we're going to allocate the Teams performance to the graphics card, the NVIDIA card in there, we saw the average CPU utilization drop to 8% and never spiked above 23%. So, we're really getting into the world now where GPU computing is going mainstream for mainstream users. Like if I have my choice, yeah, absolutely, I want a graphics card in there, and that's the first thing I would do is either take my Teams, my Zoom, and allocate that to the GPU. But even simple programs like Excel, right? It used to be Excel was a simple program, but now with pivot tables, my boss, he's a madman with pivot tables and spreadsheets that he sends to us, and those things just drag a machine down. I can even take Excel and say, hey, I'm going to dedicate it to the GPU and offload that work to the GPU rather than the CPU. So we're starting to see some users that aren't your traditional engineers move into this product, and rightfully so. But a couple things I do like about the 3000 series, right off the top, it's price performance, right? You're getting a really, really fast machine, a powerful machine at a great price. It is in that value category, so you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a lot of performance in it. But from a physical characteristics, there's a couple things that I really like. One of them is that it still has an RJ45 jack on the side. And that's huge. You're not seeing that a lot on notebooks. It is thin and light, but it's just thick enough that we can still get an RJ45. We have Thunderbolt 4 ports on this machine. It's really great. So you got that whole range of ports, which is really nice. Another thing, and it's kind of hard to see here, but I've got on this side, it's got a numeric keypad, right? And I can't tell you how many people buy it. Not for everything I said, but because it has a numeric keypad, right? They want those extra keys that are there, and I completely understand it. Especially if you're doing a lot of number work, it has enough space on this system for that. So a real quick overview, the 3560, 3561, great products. Now let's go move on to the next one. Now let's take a look at the 5000 series mobile precision workstations. So there are two versions of the 5000 series today. There's a 5560 and a 5760. So by now from watching this video, you know the difference, right? A 5000 series is a 15-inch display, and a 5560 is a 15-inch display. A 5760 is a 17-inch display version of it. This system here is really where Beauty and the Beast combine from a power, performance, and a look and styling. And again, if I want to go back to the analogy of cars, this is really looking like a pickup truck, but not any normal pickup truck. Something like a Denali, GMC Denali pickup truck, right? A lot of power underneath the hood, a V8 engine in those things, four-wheel drive. But man, really stylish with the chrome and all the high-end features. So, the outside looks beautiful. The inside is pure power. That is the 5000 series class of systems. They're thin, they're light, and they are beasts from a performance. Some of the things that you'll see in here, there's a 15-inch display. It goes all the way up to a UHD plus resolution on this, and the 17-inch also goes up to UHD plus. But they're also infinity displays, right? So it is edge to edge all the way around. Almost zero bezel on this. It allows you to put these bigger screens in a smaller footprint. So When I say a 17-inch notebook, the first time I heard we were bringing out a 17-inch 5000 series, quite honestly, I was not thrilled about it. I think of 17-inch notebooks and I think of them as big, huge boat anchors, but not in the precision class, right? This is precision 5000 class. I mean, take a look at this thing. This is 17-inch, right? But look how thin and light is. And this is an engineering workstation, right? This isn't your typical PC on here. The 5760 can go all the way up to an RTX A3000 card with 6 gigs of video memory in it. Beast of a unit. i9 up to an i9 H-class processor and even Xeon processors in this. So thin and light, very stylish with the brushed aluminum, the diamond edge cut edges on here, the palm rests with the carbon fiber on here. And to be honest, from the outside, you say, hey, this looks a little familiar. I think I've seen this model before. And if you look at the XPS 15 or the XPS 17, this is the commercial grade. On the outside, it looks just like the XPS 15 and the XPS 17. It's just the internals that are different on here. It is commercial grade graphics on it. It is the stable image platform chipset from Intel. So all those things that you need in the business world, like discrete TPMs, rather than firmware TPMs. If you're doing encryption, you know what I mean from a trouble that is. It has it in this line of products. The 5560. The graphics on this can go all the way up to the RTX A2000, so 4 gig video card in here. This one, like the 7000 series, can go to the RTX A3000, so up to 6 gig. So both of them powerhouses in there. So what are the users, right, for this? Obviously, with this class of product, you meet most of the ISV certified performance matrix in there. So there are a whole host of ISV users that would fall into this category. Certainly, if you're looking for that style and look and lightweight for travel, I mean, heck, I am not a engineer by any means, but if I started flying again and someone said, "Hey, I'll give you the 5760," I would fly with it. I would travel with it. I could go for a 17-inch display if it's in this thin and light. And then the 5000 series just even in thinner and lighter on that. So you've got a lot of those users. You get a lot of the XPS fans, right? That need it in a commercial grade for their enterprises. That's also another good category of users in there. So a lot of style. A lot of great looks on this machine and a ton of power underneath the hood. That is the 5000 class of precision mobile workstations. And finally, let's take a look at the 7000 series Dell Precision Mobile Workstation. Right here, I got the 7560. There's also a 7760 version of this that I don't have, which is a 17-inch version. But let's talk about this model. This is again, if I go back to a car analogy, this is it, right? This is the Ford F450 Super Duty pickup truck with a V8 diesel 6-wheel and can pull over 3,200 or 32,000 pounds of weight, right? This isn't a notebook that you just kind of go into the shop and say, let me get this. People that buy the 7000 series know what they're looking for, and they're looking for uncompromised power. They need the most power you possibly could get in the system. It's not like you'd walk into a car lot and say, hey, I'm looking for a Prius, but hey, what's this 450 super diesel? I'll get that instead. People, when they're looking for it, they're looking for it because of the power and uncompromised power that it has. So let's talk about that a bit. The power that's in there, you've got either up to an i9 H-class processor or a Xeon. You can go up to 128 gigs of memory in this thing, and you can put a whopping up to an RTX A5000 16 gig NVIDIA card in there. That is a powerful, powerful graphics card that you can put into this system. The 5000 series, so the 15-inch version, you can put up to 3 drives and you can RAID those drives in there. The 7000 series, you can put up to 4 M.2 drives in there. I think the max on this is a whopping, gosh, I think it's 14 terabytes of space that you can put in that machine. So certainly not for the faint of heart. These are folks, I mentioned earlier about the data science workstation program we have at the NVIDIA. This is where you start getting to that level. People are doing AI, machine learning, type of modeling. They're doing deep rendering. They need this type of power and performance out of it. So this isn't your ordinary notebook, and it's not your ordinary workstation. This truly is a powerhouse of a unit. One thing, what do I like about it? Other than the power, right? The raw power. It's not the thinnest and lightest, and it's not meant for that, right? It is meant for that raw power, but it's not overly thick. It's not a overly massive a notebook. But one of the things that people really like about this, if I take a look at the back of the unit itself, we've got rear-facing ports on here. One, we've got a mini display port and an HDMI. We also got the RJ45 and the power in the back. I can't tell you how many customers, when I talk to them, really love that feature on this. The fact that those ports are sitting in the back and they face backwards when you're plugging in, and especially if you don't have a docking station. So again, the 7000 series, it is an absolute powerhouse of a unit with many, many types of configurations. And really meant for that high-end ISV or data science workstation customer. Thank you for taking the time watching the video. Again, it was a nice little overview of the Precision Mobile Workstation line. Not a real technical dive, more of positioning and the type of users that would use it. Hopefully here in the future, I'll do a real technical dive into each model. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. Or call your Dell representative. They'd be happy to answer any of your questions that you may have on these. Again, my name is Mike Ohanian, Client Technology Specialist from Dell. Appreciate your time. Thank you.